Well, that Overlord, though, is going to spot it immediately. Well, hello there. Ben, if you scouted this early, can you send a couple of drones? It seems like the answer is yes. Rogue is sending out 3 drones immediately. This could be pretty bad for ByuN, but I do feel there are a lot of spots where the SCV will be protected.
Yeah, there's actually a ton of spots. Like, that barracks is already finishing. Can the Marines even pop out to the top of that if they want to? Now, this is a game of RNG at this point, and yes, they can actually pop out behind. So I don't think this is going to work out at all for Rogue, and every mineral matters at this point. So he just sent them over there, and they didn't really get anything done. Like, that is very unfortunate for him.
Yeah, it's almost like ByuN was okay with this getting scouted this early on because he knew that the barracks was going to finish up regardless. And even that SCV still having 20 HP is nice. Could potentially use the other SCV to repair it. Now, we do want to get some bunkers up. Rogue has sent all of his drones back into the main base, and now a lot of them are being sent down. With only a single Marine, this becomes difficult. ByuN wants to get at least 2 or 3 Marines before he can fight this amount of drones.
Yeah, I think ByuN's actually very happy with the amount of economic damage he's getting done without actually doing that much, right? Because back at home, he's mining a lot of gas. Obviously, he still wants to do damage if he can, and he is doing a lot of damage by forcing this many lings, and I don't know how much lost mining has been done, but even a supply block at this point, given an Overlord hasn't started.
Well, 12 Zerglings have popped, so Rogue feels more than confident to just fight these Marines. And these Marines are in a bit of trouble, man. There is nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. He's going to live out of the barracks, but Rogue is getting the full surround. I don't think ByuN is all that happy anymore. This seems like a bit of a disaster to me.
That was a super disaster. The SCVs fall over as well. I am not sure. He stuck around for way too long there, and that was very uncharacteristic. And now, yeah, he's in a terrible spot here, Kev.
We often talk about when Zerg has freedom, they can create a pretty decent economic advantage. I think Rogue has all the freedom in the world, and ByuN has got his work cut out for him.
He does have all the freedom in the world, but the fact that he's not made any drones and he's getting the second gas as well, I can't help but think Rogue is doing what Rogue does, where he's got the kill button activated, you know, and he knows he's dealt damage, and he knows ByuN's going to have to cut a lot of corners to get back into this game. For example, maybe making a 3rd super dam early to try and catch up, but yeah, Rogue, I don't think he has any idea of letting this game go on for too much longer.
No, he doesn't seem too eager indeed to do that, and obviously it's going to be hard for ByuN to figure this out. ByuN is not really in a position where he can casually sacrifice a unit or 2 to get a decent scout off. This to me is a bit unnecessary, because I think if Rogue would have just played macro, this is an almost guaranteed win. Now ByuN does get a pretty decent scout off there, sees the Zergling, sees the roaches. First tank is on the way. Yeah, it's still going to be a very difficult hold, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I'm really that big of a fan of this move by Rogue.
I'm with you, Kevin. Like, this is just making... It's kind of almost giving away a lead, and now these Hellions are getting a bit of damage done. Granted, there will be Lings to clean this up, and the Queens and what have you, but it's putting yourself on a little bit of a clock here. This is huge, though. The wall does go down. Lings, roaches are flooding in. Only a few SVs go down so far, but hey, maybe Rogue knows how to play this game pretty darn good. I mean, he'll get to clear out everything on the low ground, but getting up this ramp and killing him is going to be tough.
He needs to kill him pretty much because he's at 26 drones at this point. ByuN is actually the one with a minor economic advantage. Obviously, ByuN is going to lose the depots on the low ground, but Rogue wants more. Once again, raise that depot then. Okay, we are going to raise the depot. I like that we unsiege the tank just to make sure that we don't lose it to a couple of corrosive pals. And slowly but steady, I actually feel that Rogue is running out of steam. He still has a minor army supply advantage. It's a bit sloppy that ByuN didn't have any SCVs there to repair the tank. When you have this many SCVs in your main mineral line, that's a mistake to me, Ben.
It certainly is, Kev. And I'm looking at this game now, and even though there's Ling still dealing damage, there's a bunker. There's more than enough to hold this off for ByuN. And let's look at the worker count. It's actually 30 to 30. ByuN is absolutely back in this game. This was, like we kind of said, it was a bit of a botched error to go for this in the first place.
And obviously, while ByuN is doing all of this, I don't know how wary Rogue is of the fact that all these Marines are coming. He did just see it on the left side of his mini-map. Where are those tanks though? Then are they in the medevac? Yes, okay. There is a medevac on the way with 2 tanks. Another medevac is about to show up. So it's going to be a push with 3 tanks and 22 Marines with combat shield, no stim.
This is the weirdest push, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see like Stim start being upgraded right here, right now. Yeah, because I think he was ready to stutter step micro there, but you know, it wasn't there. But we got to say, these Marines are definitely a lot more chunky with this combat shield. So, and there are 3 Ravagers alive, so he can one-shot tanks, but this is really hard to clean up for Rogue now.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, he doesn't have roach speed, right? Because he was on hatchery tech for so long. So these roaches are very slow. We do have Zerglings coming in from the top. They will be getting on top of these tanks. And the tank fire actually not perfect there. Shooting at quite a few of these links. Not in love with that. It feels like if the tanks were just going for the roaches immediately, a few more of these roaches would go down. Well, this is a very odd way to start the second day of the ESL DreamHack Last Chance tournament. I'm happy to see this game still going on. I feel like it could have ended a long time ago. And at least we still have some things to look forward to. It is going to be hard for ByuN to ever get like the proper anti-lurker army out though, right? I think it's going to have to be done with just brute force.
I think so, and kind of like low tech and what have you. I know that we saw Clem deal with them pretty handily by adding a few ghosts in the mix on top of like the already. Getting caught on siege though is ByuN. Oh, this is so many times just getting picked off. In fact, actually, he got away pretty lucky there, I think.
Yeah, I think only a single tank went down. Maybe 2, but that was about it. ByuN is incredibly heavy on the Marines. It's a shame for him he doesn't have that +2 upgrade. We do have our first lurkers out on the field, and they are working towards seismic spines. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've seen this before, where it looks potentially dangerous, but I don't see these Marines really stimming in. I mean, I've seen it on your stream, man. It never really ends that well.
It doesn't end very well, Kev. I've lost like 300 MMR just today alone doing that kind of thing. But yeah, like... I will say this, though. ByuN does micro like nobody else, especially the very, very basic army situations, like his splitting and what have you. Like he's even had a Skillus questioning shield battery power, you know, like those kind of things. But 2-2 is about to finish, and that is a real big deal, you know? Oh, Nidus network going up. I like that choice. And also, like if one gets up and you get into the main base, like that can cause a lot of problems. The one thing I'm really worried about this game for ByuN is the fact that very often he can tend to stay on the low basic army and doesn't really adapt or, you know, evolve, which I could see happening for him.
It's been a long time coming, but this hatchery is in danger again. The lurkers were a little bit out of position. They do have all their fancy upgrades, so they're going to try to save the day. But this time, I believe that ByuN should be able to take out this hatchery. The Queen is doing whatever it can. I love the positioning of the Bayo here. Out of range of these lurkers. Takes out the hatch and still has 4 tanks on the hatch of creep 2.
That was perfect positioning by ByuN. Any of this bio being chased, these lurkers couldn't get close enough either. And like Rogue's in a real tough spot. Like he's taken that far left base, which I don't think will stay up for too much longer. Oh no, don't do a Benny.
No, that was a bit adventurous. I mean, ByuN should probably be happy with the damage he's already done. I don't even mind if he keeps these units here, because I think this opens the doors for him to be a little more successful on the right side. And we can already see on the minimap there is a big army indeed moving towards the top right. And I don't see how Rogue has enough in both locations. Viper's doing whatever they can. They've been landing a lot of abducts. But I almost feel, Ben, like using those abducts in the medevacs in the top right. I liked it at first. I didn't really talk about it. But that also meant he didn't have that much energy to deal with this army at the bottom. So I think it kind of backfired.
You might be totally right. Like, what was more important, keeping your 4th alive or hunting down a little, you know, task force? And here, we do have a lot of Rogue. He looks pretty safe. Nice pickup with the medevac saving those tanks. And Rogue, while he's kind of stabilizing, it is so scary having this, you know, empty space to the left side of your natural. Like, that's where your 3rd's meant to be. Oh!
Does not get the Nidus yet, still doesn't get it. And these 5 lurkers are now on top of the production. Well, this is kind of the stuff that Rogue indeed needed to really start dealing some damage on the other side of the map. ByuN is going to send his tanks, and I think with the tanks he should be alright. Losing the starport is going to hurt though. I think that's his only starport. Yes, it is. He's going to try to save it. We do still have a fight in the natural too. Where are the Vipers when you need them the most? It feels like there's so many tanks clumped up there. 1 or 2 blinding clouds could actually be good enough for these lurkers to just run in there.
They absolutely could, and ByuN's doing a good job of defending in his main as well, although that is a massive clump of units!
I don't know about the good job there. He was doing a good job at first, but that was quite painful. Lost a lot of extra bio units. Will be able to clean it up in the end, and still has these units on the bottom side of the map. I cannot believe this is an 18-minute game. This game could have ended so many different times, but now the lurker then went down too. Rogue is just going to run everything in. The tanks are a little bit exposed, and the lurkers will be able to obliterate these tanks. My goodness, man, what a game.
This is a real cracker, and they're both like neck and neck in terms of supply. 148 versus 147. More Niduses are going to go up. It's going to be really hard to get up a second Nidus, just because the first one's a bit of a surprise, right? Just to know that your opponent has that tech. Actually, Rogue lost his Lurker Den as well for the moment in time, so no reinforcements on the Lurkers for the time being either.
Yeah, that was in the natural. I think the tanks were in the range, but ByuN lost that starport. He lifted it, but I think it burned down. So he actually has no starports out at this point, and that means no Liberators for a while. He does have 7 Medivacs, and you could say that's plenty, but a lot of them are in danger of dying to a single parasitic bomb, so this could become an issue too.
Oh, and Rogue had so much gas banked as well. 9 Lurkers coming out on the field and continually trying to get these Niduses up. And even though they are going down and they're not cheap at all, they're 100, 100. If any one of those goes up, the amount of damage that caused earlier, it could spell real trouble for ByuN.
What's the Lurker count now? We've got 14 Lurkers, still have 2 Vipers. 2 Vipers, maybe not the dream amount. I don't know about this fight. There's a lot of tanks sieged up. These units at the ramp are getting absolutely obliterated. The units on the right side doing a little bit better. Now we do have a couple of Lurkers in range of the planetary fortress, but this PF's got some serious range too and takes out a few of the Lurkers. This fight is wild.
Yeah, this fight definitely wasn't that good for Rogue, and he's really suffering at the moment. Like, that was a lot of his Lurk force. He's down to 6, and he's going to lose the rest of them as well at this rate. This is a real good cleanup by ByuN, and even though he's been sticking on this kind of low economic or low tech army, he's been making so much happen with it. He's pulling Rogue apart.
Yep, there's a little Bioforce active on the bottom side too, getting another cancel on the hatchery, and that is going to do it. After 20 minutes, ByuN takes...